What up? What up? What up? My name is Randy Little. As you can see, I do my best to blindly navigate this motherfucking podcast. 111 episodes. Whether they get 2 views, 2 streams, 200, 2,000, we gonna keep going because it's fun. I love chopping it up with my boys. I love talking about movies. And I feel like that's what it's all about, man. Um, Shout out to the UK though. Shout out to Australia. Shout out to listeners on Spotify, on Amazon Music, on Good Pods. Anywhere that you watching this podcast on YouTube, anywhere that you listen to this podcast, it's appreciated, man. It's all love. We got E-Sig, we got Nick Good, we got Jay Merritt, and we talking. This is the first of a couple spoiler warnings. It's even on the episode description. If you have not seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, don't listen to this until you have seen the movie, because we're spoiling everything. When a new anticipated movie comes out, we're doing spoiler talk. So, Spider-Verse, The Flash, probably Mission Impossible, and if I have any say so in the matter, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Spoiler discussions all summer. That's how we do it, Rec League. But let's just get right into the recent theatrical releases. Of course, since the last episode dropped, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 dropped. This past weekend, you had Hypnotic with Ben Affleck, directed by Robert Rodriguez. The Mother with J-Lo was on Netflix. As I try to explain what came out this past weekend, I'm blanking hard. Book Club, the next chapter. The sequel to Book Club. And on physical media, your Blu-rays, your DVDs, your 4Ks, VHSs if you're still into that. Champions came out, directed by Bobby Farrelly, starring Woody Harrelson. 80 for Brady. Just in time for the theatrical release of Book Club. You can watch 80 for Brady. This past Tuesday, we had Knock at the Cabin, Blu-ray 4K. Yellowstone Season 5, Part 1. I thought that Part 2 was starting this month. I'm not sure that it is, though. This upcoming Tuesday, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Operation Fortune, Ruse de Guerre. I don't even know if I said that shit right. Looks like The Italian Job and Shooter getting 4Ks. Moving on, in the vein of 80 for Brady and Book Club, moving on with Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin. They like really enjoy each other's company, don't they? And then the Tuesday before the next episode, Blu-ray.com has Creed 3 and Shazam Fury of the Gods, both scheduled for May 23rd. I don't know why Warner Brothers would do that. I mean, different demographics. I'm going to buy them both. But still, that's like two of your biggest spring releases, and you're going to put them on physical media both on the same day. Because I had heard Creed got pushed back another week, but I don't know. Like, none of their social medias is confirming it. So I just don't know. And like I said, it's not on Blu-ray.com. That's where I get my release information. So yeah, man. Again, when I return, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, spoilers, and all the meat, all the trimmings, all the sides, wash the dishes. I'll be back. It's Rec League Podcast. We back. Shook up the panel a little bit. Got Nick. I don't know when I am free to record Good Man. Legacy. Eric. My name sounds like a record scratch. Eric Sigmon.
Jesus.
No, Eric.
What's up?
I tell you what's up. Pay the damn writers.
Facts.
Yeah.
It like since you brought this up, I ain't tweeted this shit. I ain't even told nobody this shit. But like, first, it feel like it's a writer strike like every 5 or 6 years. Second, it's like, dog, if the writers don't write, the directors can't direct, the actors can't act. The writers are literally the backbone of TV and film. How are they not getting paid?
I don't think the issue is them not getting paid. I think the issue this time, I know 5 years ago it was a different thing, but I think the issue now is they were getting paid, but they're not getting as much work as they were before because of streaming and stuff like that. So because of that, they're not making the income that they need to suffice. If that makes okay, so yeah, so all right,
Just on HBO
so like
Max or Disney Plus or Prime, that shit still need to be written.
right, but like take a show like Seinfeld back in the day, right? Or any of those shows. You take those shows, right? Those writers wrote for those shows for years and years and years after episode, right?
But when they
went on.
switch writers, it's a visible change in quality.
Right.
Like the last season of Seinfeld.
But you knew, it's one episode a week, right? One episode a week, and then and then so it goes like that. Well, when they write for a streaming network, it may be might be like 8 episodes, right? And they release them all at once, and then it's done, right?
Secret Invasion only about
so what they're saying is these shows that we're writing for, we're getting paid to do less episodes, so we're getting paid less, and they're going to streaming networks where people are getting to watch them over and over, and we're not getting any residuals for the writing that we did for those shows, right? That's where the issue is this time. It's not really we're not getting paid enough. It's like we're not getting.
That makes you think about that shit. Because like Disney Plus, it's not like they be like, okay, Secret Invasion coming out. That shit's about to be 4 seasons. They be going as they go. You know what I mean?
You're right.
Yeah, with streaming, that's what everybody say. It's a constant demand, but they aren't being treated like there's a constant demand for writing.
Exactly.
Like constant content, and it's like they're just like, oh yeah, everybody's gonna watch the next Marvel, whatever. And it's like that's not necessarily true. Like what people know bullshit when they see it, and you can't have AI write the next season of WandaVision. That would be worse. Yeah,
Vision gonna write his own shit.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm freaking out. It's like the Batman 2 may be affected. It's like, no shit. I hope it is affected. Like that's the entire point of the writer's strike. Like a lot of things are going to be affected.
That shit comes out in 2.5 years.
Yeah, they were like, it's like maybe.
Like the realest shit I ever seen since the writer's strike started was Nick saying, "Y'all motherfuckers are posting a whole lot of nothing."
Yeah, there's a lot of non-news coming out. It's like, yeah, maybe.
Who was it?
There was
someone that said the last time we got a writer's strike, we got X-Men Origins and Terminator Salvation and a bunch of like Transformers.
Yeah, Transformers.
But I was about to say that there was some major stuff affected by writer strikes, like The Wire, which is one of the greatest shows ever. The last few seasons were written during a writer strike, and they had to like hire like B-list.
That's only a 5 season. That's only a 5 season show, dog.
What does that mean?
The last few seasons, maybe the last season.
I think it was the last 2 though. I think the writer strike was during the last 2.
I was serving my country at the time. I don't know.
But those were the 2 seasons that everybody started complaining about. The Wire. The Wire was like on this high, and then
they kill Lomar.
Like Heroes, I think is like a classic example.
Heroes is another one. Heroes was another one. Yeah.
Did anybody ever watch Friday Night Lights?
Yeah, I did. Yep.
Maybe my favorite TV show of all time. You watch the show, you've seen every season of the show, you know what season of that show was affected by the writer strike. Somebody thought there's a character who does something and the whole season revolves around that thing. and it's like this doesn't fit the tone of the show at all. Like this is nonsense. It's not bad, but it's pure nonsense, and you can tell even when you didn't know at the time. You go back and be like, oh yeah, this was a writer's strike season for sure.
They said
Bowie
that,
Miles tore his
and I
ACL.
think I read Dexter as well was affected by a writer strike.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
that
wouldn't doubt that shit.
Season 5.
that makes
Yeah,
sense.
they said that Dexter was affected by writer strike.
Mhm.
So like there was some major
5 through 8.
projects that were affected by these things. You know what I mean? Like it is a big deal.
Yeah.
Dexter got clapped by 4 seasons of a writer's strike.
Yeah.
Dexter, like somebody being like, all right, we have to explain to you what this show's about because we don't have the writers anymore. So this is Dexter. This is his sister. Like, I mean,
Well, what if they fall in love?
have they ever kissed?
Oh god, yeah.
Bruh, man, yeah.
But yeah, that's like
Let's-
Randy said. It's I don't know why the people think the writers are so expendable, because when was the last actors strike or directors? And yeah, they're the only union that's affected by these being treated poorly.
Was
But
we
you-
when
but-
we went to New York? Was that during the writer's strike?
Doing when that's a good quote. Oh man.
Yeah, the writer
But, like,
strike. Yeah, that's
Like, you
Yeah.
know, not everyone is a writer. Like,
Mhm.
if we're talking like songwriters, you ever watch like American Idol or something like that? And you got someone who's like a great singer, and then like the one week they'll be like, I'm doing an original this week and I'm really taking a risk. And then they go out and it would be the most dog shit song. Simon would tell him, he'd be like, that wasn't great. Like, your voice is great, but holy shit.
Yeah.
Everybody is a writer. Like, some people just have it and some people don't. Like, you watch X-Men Origins Wolverine. To me, that's a perfect example of a writer's strike. But everybody always cites Quantum of Solace. I guess what
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
and like Quantum of Solace is like not a bad movie.
Yeah.
The Wolverine movie is like a perfect example of a writer's strike movie.
Yeah, Quantum of Solace, I think it's just not up to your James Bond
Yeah.
standard.
Yeah.
right.
And it's really
And
short.
yeah, but
But it's-
Wolverine, good God.
But it's just one of those things too that you can't, like, you have something great, you have a great project going. It's worse when it's a continuation of something, when it's a Dexter or a The Wire, or because then the writers already have ideas in their mind of where they're going. Now they're on strike. They're not going to tell you what their ideas were. So now
Yeah.
you just, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. Like,
They're
it just
funny.
goes left.
Like, you know, like that wasn't where Dexter was going to go.
OG Dexter writers are just like, bruh, y'all fucked up.
So funny.
Yeah.
I didn't even
Yeah.
hate it. It wasn't like a point in Dexter where I watched it. Like, I watched it for the first time, like before the new show. There wasn't a point where I like hated it, but again, it was like people always talked about how it got worse, and it was like I saw immediately where it did. It was just like, oh, this
Trinity
must-
Killer, bruh. After the Trinity Killer,
I'll give-
Trinity Killer, you can.
Like me and Merritt have talked about Dexter till we blew in the face over the past 10, 12, 15 years.
yeah, it's good shit.
I give season 5 a pass because it's after the Trinity Killer. Like, what do you do? And then I don't even hate the Doomsday Killer, but as soon as Deb catches him,
Yeah,
Yeah.
They didn't know what to do.
no,
But if you watch the show when the show was happening, though,
surprise,
like in the
motherfucker.
time that it was happening, there was news out like that they were having trouble. They didn't want to end Dexter because I guess it was so profitable or whatever.
Yeah.
So they got to a point that they were just recreating stuff each year. Like it wasn't like a planned
Yeah.
thing. It was like we can't let Dexter go. It's too profitable for Showtime or whatever at the time that it was
Showtime had
happening.
nothing else. But like Showtime, like it's all in the same era, so it all has to be like writer strike related. Showtime had this whole swarm of Dexter, Weeds, Californication, Nurse Jackie. That at a point they all felt like they were writing it as if it was the last season, and then they would get the green light for another season and do it all
Yeah.
over again.
And also in between there, after the Trinity Killer seasons, the original showrunner left Dexter.
Yeah.
So that combination of all that, yeah. It's
Plus,
just,
bro,
Hell,
so,
and
and shows are gonna have a best season, right? And it's always, even without the showrunner leaving and the writer strike or whatever, it's hard to duplicate or replicate or continue to be great after your best season ever.
Yeah.
Anyway, like after
Yeah.
Trinity, after the Trinity season was over, because they left us on this crazy cliffhanger. When the Trinity season was over, I was like, bro, what are they gonna do now? What are they gonna do now? Like
But it's
that
like-
was
That's why the Trinity Killer is the best season 4 of Dexter, because now that they talking about a New Blood season 2, Harrison getting his own joint, a Dexter like prequel. They also talking about a Trinity Killer prequel.
they know. Trinity was wild.
Yeah. I'd watch
Yeah.
it. I'm here making a face. I'm like, I'd watch that.
Dexter is still my favorite all-time show, just based off of getting to the Trinity Killer. I'm not gonna lie. It was it's my all-time favorite show.
It was good. Once I got into it, I was watching it like late at night, and then it got to the point where I was like, it's been like, oh, I get to watch Dexter. Like it just got to that point that I know I like it. But you can always tell,
yeah.
you know, writer strike, not like whatever. When it's like you look at like the last season of Game of Thrones, it was being reported everywhere. Like there wasn't a writer strike, but it was being reported everywhere that those dudes were being courted to do the next Star Wars thing. Like I think they were at the time going to make like a movie, like 3 movies or something. And everybody was talking about like, oh, I hope they still are, you know, I hope their heart is still in Game of Thrones.
Star Wars
Yeah.
kind of a movie
And-
like DC did initially.
This is the last thing.
Like, oh shit, that really happened. Like they rushed through the season so they could be like, all right, we got Star Wars to do. And that's what happened. Like you watch it, it's like, oh
This is the last thing I'm gonna say about the writer strike. There's one place that cannot afford to have writer strikes happen, and that's Marvel. Marvel cannot afford right now
I
to
thought he
have
was
writer
going
strikes.
to say the NFL.
No. Marvel, man. Marvel cannot afford, like after the phase that we just had and the shows and how it's mixed reviews and all that, they cannot afford for these next movies, especially with what they have coming, to be affected by writer strike. You
Blade
cannot have
seems-
Blade.
Blade seen
Bla-
snake bit because it is already. He's been.
Blade was like, thank God there's a writer's strike. We got more time to like.
Wait, what's
Right.
filming right
Secret
now?
Invasion.
New World Order, and Daredevil are definitely filming right now.
Right. But then you have Secret Invasion in the air. And then you have Blade in the air. There's a lot of stuff, man.
Well, Secret
And they
Invasion
cannot
comes out
afford-
next month. I think Secret Invasion's cool.
Yeah,
But
well,
they
that's
smart,
film.
but they-
Yeah.
But they said Marvel be changing stuff all the way up until
Yeah.
it released.
Well, you're talking about probably
Yeah.
Secret War, not Secret Invasion.
I mean, Secret War.
Yeah.
Secret War. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Armor
Secret War.
Wars or some
The-
shit. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't be filming stuff without like you're typically you have writers on the set addressing what works and what doesn't work.
Right.
X Wolverine did not have that. Like it clearly, like when you think about
You
it, it's
don't
like
say.
that's why like nobody was like, should he have a mouth? No, it's
Whew.
should he talk?
yeah.
No.
And literally on
Like-
the first Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds paying out of his pocket to have the writers on set.
Yeah.
And that's
Smart man.
Like Stranger Things shut down, Cobra Kai, like these shows, and that's good. I feel like this
Yeah.
time around there will probably be fewer things where people are like, we're gonna do it anyway. God damn it.
Right.
In
Yeah,
season
the quality product gets it.
but
Uh,
we'll see. Hopefully it ends
yeah.
all happy.
the only real news that I really like heard of over the past couple of weeks was Beetlejuice 2. Winona Ryder coming back, Tim Burton coming back, Michael Keaton coming back, Catherine O'Hara. Was there somebody else? I don't know, but Jenna Ortega coming.
Ortega, allegedly.
Willem Dafoe's coming. I don't know. They've already announced a handful of names. I just want to know, like, what y'all think. Has it been too long? Are you guys excited for Beetlejuice 2? What's up?
Well, Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
Beetle
Well, I
2.
guess
Beetlejuice.
Top Gun Maverick gives you hope that you can but that's a I don't know, because the thing, Top Gun Maverick was an action movie, right?
Mm.
The belated sequel for comedies don't have good track records. Like, I don't know if there is a
Hold on.
belated comedy that was as good as or just okay. So
How did
Okay.
how was the Wednesday Netflix series viewed? Like, was it do y'all was it good? Was it bad? Was it indifferent?
I
I
still
enjoy
haven't seen it.
it was as good as it looks. Like whatever you expect. Like,
No,
oh
but
yeah,
I know, like, I'm not talking about like us rating it, but I'm saying the masses view of it is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, that, do y'all like, have y'all heard anything like as far as like, oh, this had a good, like,
people loved it.
Yeah.
okay.
Like
So
they
Overall, I ain't seen nobody really hate.
freak.
okay, so that gives me hope for the Beetlejuice movie because I feel like Beetlejuice, Addams Family, those type of things are so our era. You know what I mean? And so it's one of those things where we'll go out and see it, but then it becomes a question: are the younger generation gonna go see it, right? So, I think there's a chance that it fares well, but I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't have hated it like them rebooting, like it being a whole new thing and growing with the new generation. But I'm me as a fan from the generation I come from, with that coming back, I'm excited for it.
yeah, but that's what they're gonna softly do with Jenna Ortega being in there.
Yeah.
She's gonna, if it's successful, they'll carry it on, and all the other characters will be background characters.
It's
And
a requel.
so yeah, exactly. And it's no coincidence that she's in it. It's they know what they're doing.
If
And she's
Tim
yeah.
Burton, and I basically am, I would cast because like Jenna Ortega is almost like too predictable of a casting choice. They're like
For
it's so,
Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
it's like okay, she should be like a total like Valley girl, like wearing
Oh
pink.
no, yeah.
That
She's
would be
basically gonna play Wednesday, but yeah, that'd be fire.
Right.
my only concern is just like they've been talking about doing a Beetlejuice 2 for decades. Like
30
Kevin
years.
Smith said in the 90s, he was offered, they were going to do Juice Goes to Hawaii.
Yeah,
And he,
that one.
bullshit to me. Like, I'm not going to do that. Like, that sounds stupid. And they never did it. So I'm like wondering, it's like, is Tim Burton's like heart really going to be in it? Or is he just like, yeah, I'll do a Beetlejuice 2. Fuck it. I need to pay.
Yeah.
People will go see it. Like, I'm hoping, because he hasn't really had like a outstanding movie in a while.
In a while, right?
Yeah, it seemed like, yeah.
It's been like since like maybe Sweeney Todd.
I was just about to say that myself. That's probably the last.
I did like
Tim. You said which one?
I liked Frank and Weenie. That felt like a certain movie to me. But even that was like over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder
Nothing
if maybe
super
we might
recent.
get cameos from Alec Baldwin or Gina Davis. Maybe.
Wow, I didn't mean to laugh at that, but
Oh, there's no guns and juice.
yeah, that's not gonna happen. They're gonna
No.
stay away from him, even though officially he's cleared, but still, you don't want that type of press around your movie.
Bring in Gina Davis and kill him off.
Yeah, and if y'all don't know what happened to
Can't
if y'all
kill
don't
him.
know what happened to Jeffrey Jones, the Lydia's dad in the original, just Google it.
Oh yeah, that
We're not gonna
motherfucker-
talk about that.
That's why I didn't even say his name because I knew he wasn't gonna be in it.
Yeah,
He was in the Deadwood movie, wasn't he? Like
No
put
idea.
him back there. He was,
yeah.
but they were
Yeah.
like, I don't remember.
I just watched How High a couple weeks ago. I'd watch The Pest if it came on.
Yeah,
No, wow.
the pest. Right. But yeah, Michael, that's another one. Like, I hope he's like enthusiastic about doing it because I'm sure he's been asked 100 times in 35.
Oh, yeah.
Like, where's Beetlejuice 2? So it's like I hope he like really wants to do it.
It's up your ass.
I got to pay my rent. I'll be Batman again. Fuck it.
He's actually. I was telling Randy this. I was telling Randy this the other day. He's actually having like a great resurgence. If you really think about
Oh
it.
yeah.
He came back with the
ever since the
Spider-Man.
other guys.
I was
Yeah.
back when like Birdman came out. I was so happy at the time. I was just like, dude, he's one of like the most versatile actors, and he just kind of got like forgotten after. And now he's
Yeah.
But he's just been in some good movies. He just,
You know what's funny though? Michael Keaton. I'm sorry. When the first Beetlejuice came out, Michael Keaton was the age that Randy is now during the first Beetlejuice.
Oh, so married, bro. Don't single me out.
Well, I don't know how old Merritt is.
With your Jackie Robinson jersey number looking ass.
Yeah, that's right. 42, baby.
But like he has they have him doing a lot of like, oh, you was this in the past, come back and do it again. They have him doing a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. And he did it twice and we're not gonna see it.
Right.
The Batgirl and what was the other one that the Aquaman he supposedly had? I don't know if that's a rumor.
Right.
But definitely Batgirl to scrap the movie, Batwoman, whatever the hell.
That was supposed to come out the same year as the TV show, right? Was it a TV show that came out that same year or something?
I don't know if they ever completely dated the Batgirl movie. They just
that's
Warner Brothers got new leadership and they just trashed it. They said it wasn't good enough for the theater, or it wasn't.
It was just, which is just, oh my god, this. Yeah.
How do you make an unreleasable movie?
Yeah, it's something we don't get into that crap.
We were sitting here talking about like Hypnotic was trash, 65 was trash.
Yeah, that's okay to release. You know?
Yeah, they got
Warner Brothers has released some. Get into their list of movies. That's unreleasable, and from the directors of Bad Boys for Life, they just go from that to just making something. And how do you? I mean, where are the producers and the studio execs visiting a set? Y'all let them make a whole movie. Then y'all watching and say, you know what? We made a mistake. We spent $60 million. It doesn't make any sense.
It's dumb. Yeah.
They're like, yeah, and the house party too, right? Like, no, that can stay.
Yeah.
No, that
it's like a Simpsons joke. I don't know if y'all remember it. I forgot what the episode was. I think Homer was trying to get something made. He visited a studio exec and he was sitting, he had a big stack of screenplays on the desk and he picked one up. He was like, Revenge of the Nerds 4. And he threw it out the window. Like, start making that right now. They're like, what is this doing here? But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, the Flash looks like Randy said, that last shot in with the moon in the back. I mean, man, that trailer.
Segue. I'm convinced though that there's no way the Flash is going to be as good as a movie we've already seen this year. I'm convinced.
Rec League audience. You on the audio only? You on the YouTube? If you have not seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, this is your motherfucking spoiler warning. Finish this episode after you see it because you think motherfuckers is gonna die and they do not.
Oh yeah.
I went in thinking we was gonna lose at least two. I
thought Rocket for sure, bro. I thought like just because of the whole conspiracy with the different logos of each movie, I thought Rocket for sure. And then they went to go to
come on, you got it.
I don't remember what the facility is called. They went to go get the record of the Rocket's records, right?
Yeah. Right.
Drax took one dead center mass.
I thought that was it. Yeah.
45 minutes in, we about to lose Drax. That's fucked up. And then Rocket in the third act, Rocket leaves on his own. I was like, okay, he's done. It's a wrap. High Evolutionary gonna pull him apart limb by limb. And then when Quill is taking the dive and starts freezing and expanding and shit, I was like, damn, they take out Quill and call it what Marvel does, scared to kill any characters or whatever the fuck. They all survive. I
thought Nebula was gonna eat it for sure when she
Nebula.
Stayed, and I was like, oh, she's gonna die for the team.
I was about to tell you, Randy, you kind of went over the Nebula one because in that same scene, they shot Nebula and she bled for the first time. We've never seen that before. And I was like, damn, we're gonna lose Nebula. Like, you know what I mean? Like that was
like she just took a slug. I ain't really like, as much as I love Karen Gillan, I ain't really like.
So when she fell and she bled, I was like, oh, like it looked fatal. You know what I mean? Like it looked fatal.
Like I think I put on YouTube and in my Letterboxd reviews, it's like James Gunn reads social media. He knew what we all thought was gonna happen. And he was just writing this movie like, yeah, fuck you guys. You're gonna be surprised, but none of that shit's going down.
I give that a plus.
Yeah.
I give that a plus. It's like expectation, but it means that there are stakes. And a lot of times with superhero movies, you're like, well, Shang-Chi isn't gonna die in his own movie. He's fine. So you get to this and it's like genuine stakes. It's like nobody's really safe. I don't, they could kill the rest.
I went in thinking Drax was gonna go because of all the news around David
saying he's done.
Yeah, and all that stuff. So I was like, oh, they're gonna kill off Drax.
The way he worded the shit was, I'm happy with where Drax's story ended. So like I didn't take that as a death. But the way that he started wilding when James Gunn initially got fired, it wouldn't have surprised it wouldn't have surprised me.
Yeah, you could tell they have a good relationship. What was the not going too far, the What If series? Somebody asked Batista on Twitter, like, why didn't you voice your character on What If? He said, here's the thing, nobody asked me.
Didn't ask me.
And James Gunn responded. He said, I'm gonna talk to somebody about that.
Taking it all the way back, James Gunn got fired like the week before or after we started this podcast. So damn near 5 years ago. And I'm just now realizing that Eric looked a little bit like the High Evolutionary. But that's like, that was before Endgame. That was before Endgame came out. That was like 2 months after Infinity War when the tweets came out and all the bullshit.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was storm though. Like it was exactly perfect enough. Like he was fired long enough to get the Suicide Squad and then get rehired.
That shit, James Gunn getting fired from this movie was the best thing that ever happened to him because now he's in DC.
He got a vacation.
You know what I'm saying?
It's the best thing that happened to him. I think I read somewhere he said that Kevin Feige could consulted him with most of the cosmic stuff. He would show him scripts for things like, is this as comic accurate as we make it? Is this as good as
my man?
Supposedly he was very hands-on in Infinity War with his Guardian characters.
Right.
So then why he come out now talking about he don't like how Quill reacted and all that shit? Did y'all see that?
I saw a little blurb of that.
I saw,
but that scene referencing Quill referencing Infinity War was money.
Yeah.
I disagree with it, but I love the reference.
There are people on Twitter just talking like, oh yeah, the Guardian stuff in Infinity War is so weak because James Gunn directed. I was like, how is it weak? They're like highlights of that movie that's nothing but highlights. And then it's also
bingo.
All this stuff. It's like as soon as the music starts playing, like before they're even on screen, you're like, oh, the Guardians are coming. It feels like them, like completely. Like all the jokes and everything, there's nothing stupid. It's all stupid. But like it's like it all feels like it's part of the same movie.
No, bro. The why is Gamora shit I fucking hate.
You didn't like that.
I'll do you one better.
Why is Gamora? That's so funny.
No,
that was hilarious today.
No, fuck no.
No, come on.
Drax has funny moments in Infinity War, but he's more missed than hit. And that I was skeptical as fuck going into Guardians 3, but every line Bautista said damn near had me dying. I've told each and every one of y'all, bro, the Zargna shit with Mantis. He's they can't have any more. They're all gone.
That was funny.
While he's eating one, bro, that shit kills me.
You can't have a good superhero movie without a good villain. And before I went to go see this movie, I watched, some non-spoiler reviews or whatever. And everybody was kind of, all the reviews I watched was kind of shitting on, the villain. Like they was kind of like, oh, all he did was yell. All he did was yell, right? And I watched this movie and I'm like, he was fucking incredible in this movie. He's definitely been one of the best villains since
Period.
fucking Endgame, probably.
Period.
He's probably been one of the best. Yeah, easily. Like he
If
showed
not top
up.
3.
He was a dope villain. And the other thing about him, I wouldn't be surprised if he's somehow connected to Kang, just because of the suit and the power that played out in this movie, how it was used.
If we weren't in a writer's strike right now, I would bet money that there was some writer doing backflips trying to figure out a way to make that a thing, but there's probably not. But that's what everybody said. We'll just make him a variant. And it's like, no, that's dumb.
That's stupid. But I was telling Randy the line in the movie where he says, I visited your planet, I studied your planet, you guys have some blah, 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 blah. And for how old he was, it is very possible for him and Kang to have learned from each other, or, him to have learned from Kang and took, you know what I mean? Just because his suit was like, it was like a purple, it looked like Kang's suit. If you if you look at it, and then the way he used his powers was very much how Kang used it in Quantumania. So I was like, it would be dope if his powers, the power that he has to a lesser extent, because it wasn't really his power, right? It was just something they came up with, where with Kang is more his power, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he had some kind of connection to it because it's the same color, it was used the same way and everything. So I was like, him coming to our Earth and studying could have been around the same time as Kang was developing this, what he's developing. So I thought, that was dope.
Y'all know how I be like, how like shit'll dawn on me later. Like I'll catch some shit like way after the fact. Like the way that High Evolutionary kept saying 89P13 and all that shit. Like it took me a minute, but I was like, oh shit, when they was doing like the inventory, when they was first bringing them into the prison in the original movie, John C. Reilly said 89P13.
And it says associates Groot Lila on the screen.
Did it say Lila in the original?
It said Lila, yeah, it did.
Yeah. Wow.
It's fucked.
That's so dope. That's so dope.
But you said people were criticizing him yelling, but I don't give a damn because he yelled one of the coldest lines in any movie this year. He said, there is no God. So that's why I stepped in.
Right.
I'm like, ooh.
But
First of all,
like, I think that it's just cool to hate Marvel characters right now. It just is. That's a whole thing. And when you really think about it, if he really look at himself as a creator or as a god, anytime things don't go his way, what is it? You're gonna scream down on somebody. That's what you do. Like if you really feel like that's your position, that's what he's gonna do. It's like, oh, he was just screaming. It's like, did y'all not watch the rest of the movie? This dude was killed. He's actually probably the most vicious villain we've had in the MCU, period.
Yeah,
that's where I was going.
Unhinged.
We in this training wheels ass society where you can't scream at nobody. We all come up from a time where when you do wrong, you get screamed at until you get right. So like the High Evolutionary was this narcissistic, like y'all said, God complex having ass dude. And when his direction wasn't followed to the letter, he snapped. He's so like, my way is the way, that if you ain't on the ball, I'm gonna talk down to your ass. And that's exactly what he did, bro. Like we've all seen Peacemaker, right?
Oh yeah.
Chuck Woogie is that dude. He's a great actor.
That's why I remember James Gunn saying, like, he got cast at Guardians. They were like, oh yeah, what brought you to that? He was like, I worked with him in Peacemaker, and he was there was like
only on HBO Max, so not the masses, normies just didn't check it out, so they didn't know who he was.
Yeah, and like all
he delivered though.
Yeah.
And like he didn't just yell, like he yelled like a few times in like the villainous way, but it was like Shakespearean in how he handled shit.
No, dog. When he went in the chambers and he was like telling Rocket that he wasn't good enough. I'm just
Yeah.
like, bro, fuck you! Don't talk to my dog like that, man.
Bro, they did such a good job of like making sure the audience was invested in those characters and then having them like surprisingly just be killed. Like, bro, that was so like it was impactful as hell because you were so invested in them at that point. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
bro.
Like they did such a good job with that.
Rocket had his key and he got out, and then High Evolutionary caught him, and then he shot Lila first. I was like, damn. And then they blast and they have the shootout, and then Floor and Teeth got hit. No.
And they dwell on that, like the thing of just Rocket just yelling. And it's so like that's what makes it. It's like you could argue, like there are people who, can't handle stuff like that. There are people that, would be like, well, that's just emotionally manipulative. And it's like, yeah, you could argue. But I think the thing with Rocket just standing there yelling for a minute drives it home in a completely different way that you don't really see. It's in a movie like this, you don't normally see something like that, where it's just raw, just grief, just for like a minute. It's just like he stood, screamed it out.
They were the first.
And then what happened after that, Nick? When after Rocket screamed, and then was it the Higher Evolutionary? He made fun of him. Isn't that how that went?
It just it was just
bullied him.
Like it out, and then we're gonna get back to the regular programming. And I think
that's people not understanding moments too, because when you have to really, if you're looking at it from the right perspective, he's learning his feelings and emotion as he goes, because he's a new creation, right? Like if you think about it, he just had started talking days before that. Like it was like it hadn't been that long, right? That he had said his first word, right? So
I'll say months, because like his head was shaved, and then like he grew.
Yeah, voice changed. So I think,
but it was a progression of him dealing with. And they pointed it out too. That's the other thing. Is like he spoke his first word, right? And his first word was hurt, right? So he felt hurt first, right? But like every time, and then when they built a little friendship or whatever, and then it was like happy, and then they were like, and they were saying like, I'm so happy to have friends. Like it was like a building of emotions, right? So this is the first time he had ever been in a traumatic situation. This is the first time he ever felt that. So that was like his first time ever feeling those emotions before. So that's how it came out. To the regular fan though, it's like, oh, why they do that? But like, if you look at it the right way, it's like, no, that's how it's supposed to play out. You know what I'm saying?
Somebody we haven't touched on yet, Adam Warlock.
Oh,
did he kind of get yanked out the cocoon and just thrown into the shit and never got that chance to develop like Rocket?
That's the most valid argument that I've heard, like against the movie, where I'm like, yeah, he's good at it.
I liked him. Yeah.
I thought he was good in it. But you could argue that he was kind of shoehorned in there. And it's like, yeah, he was. I did enjoy him in the movie though.
They said it in the movie though. Like I always give a movie credit for acknowledging a shortcut or something. But they said it in the movie, like you pulled him out way too early and he didn't get it. Like they said it in the movie and it's like, oh, okay. All right.
I think Volume 2 set up Adam Warlock for motherfuckers to assume he was the primary antagonist in 3.
Yeah.
But the writing explains, like Merritt just said, they would Aisha and the Staverns the whole time was working for the High Evolutionary. So he made the call to pull Adam Warlock out the cocoon early to hunt Rocket. And the whole everything goes into motion because Adam Warlock attacked nowhere and fucked Rocket up. So you got to save your boy.
Yeah, I did. Like I enjoyed, and even in the movie, like once you got to the big climax, and he was not the focus at all, and he like woke up, and like he was like they had taken him on the ship, and he was like tied to the thing. And he like woke up and he escaped. And they like saw him coming. They were like, "Oh, come on!" Like for like a second, he went, "Oh, come on!" And he went in there, and then he fell over. And they were, "Fuck this!" Like they just, they're like, "God damn it!"
That shit was dope because at least he was processing. High Evolutionary killed my mom's. Fuck him. He's the enemy.
Right.
Etched that the first time I watched it for whatever reason. I watched it twice, and I don't. There was a lot going on in that scene, and he was like, "Mother," and like. For whatever reason, like when I watched it, it almost seemed like he was mad
Beastie Boys.
her, and I was like, what happened? And then I
Yeah.
was like, something's happening. I got to move on. The second time was when I realized, I was like, oh, fuck, they killed his mom.
Yeah, he tried to get to her and he couldn't get to her in time.
Yeah, like I
I
really.
also give when there's characters that's so similar to other characters and they do it well. Also, always give movies credit for that too. And what I'm saying is like, okay, like we all know Quicksilver from X-Men, right? How great he was in the movie or whatever, how they did his speed and they made it whatever. And then when I watched them do Quicksilver in the WandaVision show, I was like, oh, they did that pretty well, based on, what we had already seen. And I say that to say with Adam Warlock, right? He's very Superman power like, right? So I paid attention a lot to like
Icarus.
how he looked when he was flying or how he looked when he was being super strong or whatever. And I felt like they did that really well. Like Adam Warlock in the future is going to be really good in whatever he is in later.
Adam Warlock or Icarus?
No, Adam Warlock.
In the MCU, Adam Warlock.
They did him better. Adam Warlock was done better than Icarus was.
Yeah.
Warlock might win in the fight. He's an idiot. But like if you
Adam Warlock would definitely beat Icarus, man. They gave them fools one power each, bro. I'm still not over that, man.
That's all I wanted.
I'm still not over that.
Once in like the 2 years that it's come out, they have not referenced.
That's all I wanted.
Anything that happened in Eternals. There's a giant.
Bro, I cannot get over. They're the Eternals, bro. They should be better. They should be higher than the Avengers. And I cannot get over the fact that they gave these fuckers one power each. It's like, oh yeah, you shoot power out your finger. That's your power. Like, are you?
She's little. That's her. He's big. He's an actor. That's a power. He flies.
And it still puzzles me. I cannot say his name. The one who became a Bollywood actor. What's his name?
Kumail Nanjiani.
Kumail Nanjiani. That dude, I give him credit. I know he probably took some vitamins. He got into tremendous shape. And then I saw the movie. I'm like, for what?
Exactly. Bruh. Dude,
he had his shirt off a lot. He was like, Star-Lord's going to be naked like 3 different times this movie for no reason.
Man, it's ridiculous.
Well, yeah.
I remember hearing a lot of people tried out for Star-Lord. A lot of people auditioned. It was like James Gunn wanted Glenn Howerton to do it.
I heard that, yeah.
Zachary Levi was really pissed that he didn't get Star-Lord. I remember hearing
he was already in Thor.
I know, but he went out for Star-Lord.
He tried for it, yeah.
Be pissed that he didn't get it.
Goofy.
And Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I remember hearing his name floated around for it. And
I would not hate him in the MCU, but as Star-Lord?
I remember there being like, who's going to be the lead of this movie? And it would being like, nobody knows who these people are, so you got to get a big actor. And he was looking at like Howerton. That's so funny to me. But I remember him being like, I read something where he was like, I didn't really consider Chris Pratt. And he auditioned, and then I didn't consider anybody else but Chris Pratt. And he told him, he was like, I don't even care if you lose weight. Like, he was like, don't do a thing. And Chris Pratt was like, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get.
Yeah, that was Chris Pratt's thing. I heard that.
Yeah.
And he was just, at that point, he was Chris Pratt from Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
It's a 5-year engagement. Dude, he's so funny in that movie. He's like,
he's hilarious.
I wonder why he.
I vaguely remember him kind of funny in Delivery Man.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he was like the friend in a lot of comedies for a little while.
Yeah.
But like
wasn't he what's the movie? Her. He was in Her, correct?
Yeah, Her.
Yeah.
He did seriously. Like, he was one of the Zero Dark 30 guys. He was in
Moneyball. He was one of the soldiers and
But
can we take a second though? Can we take a second to give Nebula her props though? Because I'm starting to think, I've been thinking about this for a while. As far as development in the MCU, she might have the best development in all the MCU.
Karen
Like,
Gillan has
period.
killed it in every Marvel movie she's been in.
And she's pretty much had to be a different character in every
movie.
one. In every one. Like, and in this one, she delivered. She delivered. Like, it's no way around it. She's incredible as Nebula. Like, it's
Really
getting in the car.
Yeah.
So funny, dude. Like, this was really the first time, other than maybe like Love and Thunder, where they were all in it for about 60 seconds, but it was like
Never heard of her.
first time where you really saw Nebula as part of the team.
Mhm.
Because she wasn't really like Infinity War, she just showed up. Like, they showed up and he had already captured her.
Right.
And then, like, game, she was helping the Avengers, but then they did the old switcheroo. So it was like she was integral to the plot, but it was kind of like her not being part of the team was what made the plot go. So this was like the first time she was like wearing the suit and really like,
yeah.
And I loved the way they did it, because it was like, what would happen if it wasn't just like she's part of the team now. It was like, what happens if you put that character in that team? They would fight all the time. Like, they would just be yelling at each other. And it's exactly what happened. And it felt like everything involved felt like right. Like, it was just like, this is exactly.
It was a family dynamic, man. She gives them, she more than anything, she gives them that big sister.
Yeah.
I'm more mature than all of y'all dynamic. Like that, that the Guardians actually needed, right? And I think when we the first time we really started to see Nebula as Nebula is when her and Iron Man are just on the ship. You know, they're out in space. And then it's like, oh, and they're, you know, just in that little scene alone, it's like, oh, okay. And the crazy thing is, when Guardians started, everybody loved Gamora, hated Nebula, right? And I think that has completely turned. Like, I think Nebula is a more loved character right now than Gamora.
Oh, I love Nebula.
I think Nebula is a more loved character than Gamora right now. I really do. Like,
I'm never hating Zoe Saldana.
But the thing is, it's not so much about Zoe; it's which Gamora it is that we don't like.
Right.
I don't hate,
and I'm glad they didn't sugarcoat that. Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah.
I like both Gamoras. I love the first Gamora, but I think even if we had the original Gamora in comparison to what Nebula is right now, as a character, I think Nebula is a more loved character than Gamora, because her development has just been more than Gamora's was at all periods.
Merritt. Speaking of Gamora, I want to get these two dudes' reaction to your theory about the very end with Groot.
Oh, that he's what, Alpha Groot?
Nah, that when we hear him say "I love you guys," is that us understanding Groot language?
Yes.
That
okay, so in the movie,
understood it, so we understand it.
Right. So in the movie, right, this version of Gamora, right? She, every time that Groot would talk, she would only hear "I am Groot" or whatever,
right?
Because she wasn't attached to him yet, right? And as fans, this whole time, we've only heard "I am Groot," right? You have to become part of the Guardians of the Galaxy family to be able to understand him, right? Pretty much the thing is that was painting or whatever. By the end of this movie, like, they made it a thing the whole movie that she only could hear "I am Groot," and she was like, "I know who you are," blah blah blah. Like, okay. But the scene before we actually heard him talk, that was like a mess. Like that was like our, like, this is coming for you guys. Gamora finally heard him talk, right? They finally viewed her as part of the team. So when he spoke to her, she understood him, right? But that scene was actually right before we heard it too. So to me, that's how I took it, as that scene made us part of the Guardians of the Galaxy family. Like, we're now in the Guardians of the Galaxy as part of the family. So we understood him. That's why they put the scene before with Gamora. Like, you know what I'm saying? That kind of thing.
That's kind of how I took it. That's I don't know if somebody has said that outright, but that seems to be kind of how people are taking it. It's like, he didn't just speak out of nowhere. Like, we just kind of understood.
We understood him now too, because we've been with the Guardians as a family this whole time, type of thing. Yeah. Yep.
Interesting.
I like, I like what they did with Gamora. I'm
Yeah.
kind of like a
I like
downer
it too.
in life. I would take just her being like, I bet we were fun. I would take that 100 times over her memory magically coming back or them kissing.
Yeah.
Flashy.
I didn't want that. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
them not going back to that was great. I think what they did.
Yeah.
With not like you can say like it's the Disney-fied, it's what Marvel does, not killing anybody.
Yeah.
But if Quill and Gamora would have just romantically been together again at the very end, that would have Disney-fied the movie. I love that they didn't end up back where they were in Volume 2.
I do too. I think I like that scene. To me was a better. It was like it wasn't like payoff, but it was like to me it was more realistic. It was more natural. I bet we were fun. He said, "Oh, you wouldn't believe," or whatever he says. I was like, that's so much better. Like, maybe they'll meet later, maybe not. Like I don't know. Like
maybe she'll succumb to his pelvic sorcery.
Yeah.
But speaking of development, though, we talked about Nebula and her development. We have to remember also that Gamora, the original Gamora from the beginning, kind of always wanted a family, right? Yeah. She always kind of wanted a family, and then we lost that Gamora, and then we got this Gamora, and I think the development for this Gamora or Gamora period was that she did get the family that she wanted. It just wasn't in the way we thought she would get it, right? Because she had the Ravagers, right? And you could see like she was like they were like all in on her, like she's part of them, right? So her development was that she still got the family that both Gamoras wanted, which was dope too. I thought they did a perfect job of like closing chapters of like characters if this is going to be the last Guardian.
And like that's the thing that makes Peter move on. Like he's like, you know what, I gotta, like they did the whole metaphor thing where he's like, I gotta find out like what my life is about because it's not this. Like he and her fated to be together, and I like that.
Let's break on that. I want to hit on the mid credits and post credits real quick. What do y'all think about the new Guardians lineup, and when, maybe, if possibly, do we get Volume 4? Merritt?
I don't think we get a Volume 4.
Yeah.
I think the Guardians movie, like this movie, I think we'll get characters in things. I do think that, especially when it comes to like Avenger projects and stuff like that. But like Guardians movie, for a couple of reasons, I don't think we're going to get anymore. The first reason is I don't think that anybody is going to want to take on the pressure of the 3 movies we just got, because it's definitely the best, trilogy in all of the MCU. The second thing is I don't think that it's easy to do what James Gunn did, man. Like with the ships and the space and the stories and I think it's difficult to do. And then those actors are used to those stories. But I just don't think we get a Guardians 4. I don't think that happens at all. But I do think that team will join in Avengers movies and things like that.
Yeah, they'll be.
So, taking it to the post-credit scene, with Quill's back on Earth, having a conversation with his grandpa, who he last saw when he got abducted by Yondu in the original movie. We get that flash on the screen. The legendary Star-Lord will return. Me and Maris talked about this. Nick, Eric, do y'all think Star-Lord gets a solo movie, or is this just confirmation he's in Kang Dynasty? And
he'll be
him and the Guardians will plug it out.
Like Merritt said, he'll be maybe back for one of the Avenger movies, and in one of the team ups or whatever. Nah, people don't want to see the Star-Lord solo. Not at this point.
For some reason, immediately went Disney Plus series.
Yeah, I'm considering that.
I
hate that thought. I hate that that's like a part of my thought now. Like, oh, maybe it'll be a Disney Plus series. It's like, no, that's stupid. No, it needs to just be movies. But maybe for some reason my head just went there. It's like, oh, maybe it'll be him on Earth because that'll be cheaper to make.
Yeah.
In episodes, right? But yeah, I don't think so, man. I don't think that. I think we'll see him
35 years old, mowing lawns every episode for $20 a yard.
Let's do save the Earth for a change. But it's like, I don't know. I hope not. I don't know. I'd watch it.
Yeah.
I say, having watched every Marvel thing.
But part of what makes him as an actor great and makes Star-Lord great is that he's leading a team of misfits. That's like a major part of like that character specifically. So if you take away the misfits and it's just him, I don't think he delivers as well. I think he needs the team to deliver that. Not saying he's not a great actor. I mean, he's gonna do what he does and everything.
Right.
But I just mean for that character specifically as Star-Lord, he needs his misfits to lead. Him by himself is not going to be what we want it to be.
I can see that. What else we got?
Let me ask, you mentioned Randy earlier, the car scene when they were getting in the car. First of all,
what you getting at? That's Deadpool prep.
it was now, is that the first
Yes.
F-bomb in the MCU movie
that they've let slide?
that they like
It's been a bunch of times that it was like implied though, right? Like
Yeah.
they said something and then it went to another scene or somebody was cut off.
I mean,
whatever.
right before Yondu bites it. Welcome
Right.
to the Guardians of the freaking Galaxy. Only he didn't
say
freaking.
I just remember Gary Shandling and Iron Man 2 be like, fuck you,
Oh, yeah.
or fuck you, buddy. And it's just like
Wow.
Yeah, and
That's
Iron Man,
pretty
they
good.
bleeped it out though, right? He did say it, but they bleeped it out.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they were showing it on like CNN and like whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's
Fuck you, buddy.
That whole scene, that's a horrible design. Get in the fucking car.
get in the fucking
yeah.
open
Like
the
now what? They're like,
car.
open the fucking door.
Everything at that house was great. Everything at that house was
Yeah.
fucking.
that whole planet, like when they everything that happened when they went to Earth 2 or whatever it was called.
Yeah. I told one of
Alternate,
my boys at work.
alternate Earth or something, right?
I think I told Merritt. I think I told one of my guys at work the TV spot where they're trying to tell Drax not to lay on the couch. It was stupid. It was fucking stupid. I didn't laugh, but it
Yeah, out of
plays so
context.
well in the movie.
It is so
It put-
cute because he's trying to talk to her, and they're like, they just go, Drax, I see you, and he's just like laying on the couch, and then like everything about it, like when they're like he's trying to talk to the lady, and Mantis is like, he's gonna die, and she goes, ah, and she's like, what is that? And she's gonna think he's already dead, and there's nothing to it. Then she just opens the drink and drinks it. She goes, that is a like all the
It was perfectly written. It was perfectly written.
he draws the little picture, and they're like, that's really good. Can I hang that on the wall? And he's just like, yeah. The whole scene was so funny. Like
Everybody was on.
This scene.
That's what I want to touch on Palm Clemente too. I want to make sure that Mantis gets her shine too. In the Christmas special, we learned that Mantis. Well, it's obvious when you think back about it. Mantis and Star-Lord are half siblings. Ego's their dad. Of course, they're half siblings.
Right.
But she's like, as much as Nebula, Mantis is kind of trying to keep everybody together too. And like she obviously she wants to save Rocket. And when they first have the suits on and they're trying to like Quill's trying to like decipher the fucking buttons.
Yeah, that's funny.
Oh.
It was funny. That's
It was
and, like,
hilarious.
something I thought about also going back to that like scene where they were at the house. Like that whole thing, that whole sequence was funny. Like every joke was funny, even though it kind of like paused the action for a minute. Like everything was funny. I always think about in-game. In-game clocks in at like almost like exactly 3 hours. It's like 3 hours and like 2 minutes or something like that.
Kick name.
I remember
Take
reading, they were like, there's nothing we can take out. There's not a thing we can do to shorten this movie. I always think of the restaurant scene where they're talking to the Hulk. There's so many, it's a fine scene. It's fine. Like I get it. Like I don't hate it, but there's a lot of things in that scene that I'm like, see, they could have trimmed that. They could have cut that out.
I'm wearing shirts now.
That joke, like it was funny, but like you could have shaved like 20 seconds off of that. You could have cut the scene down to a couple minutes. Then it's like scenes like that in Guardians 3 that I'm like, I never would have cut that scene in a million years. Like her opening the drink and just drinking, that is fantastic. Like it's just like just little random jokes.
Not even
work
like the
that-
Nathan Fillion scene talking about his employees.
It was
Yeah,
It
that's
was
funny stuff.
And that's
hilarious.
the whole thing where he's like, I got one of those. And he just like stares at him and like he's pissed. And then he does it again later and he's like, oh, he's an idiot. I've got one of those. And it was like, it was funny. Like, every joke was funny to me. I
They
don't know.
they did a good job of like they did a good job of giving every character their moment as
Every
far as
character.
like showing their intellect in different phases. Like they did the scene where they was like, "Oh, Drax is an idiot," right? Like he's stupid.
Oh,
Just to follow it up with the
Nebula was
next
going
scene,
so hard on him, and Mantis had to check her. Like that was an emotional scene for me.
but they did that just to show in the next scene that like no, he's not smart when it comes to science or creating a plan or whatever, but when it comes to being able to communicate with children and those kind of things, he's genius, right?
Nebula
and
saw his worth.
and then Nebula was like, why didn't you? And you never, nobody
The fuck
ever
you ain't
asked him
ask?
anything. No one ever asked him anything. He is smart. He just doesn't get
Yeah.
asked. And there's a lot of
Ask-
people that's genuinely like that, right?
Both
Yeah.
times I watched it, people laughed at that line, like the ha, and I was like, both times I took it as like a genuine, like, oh, you just assumed I don't know shit. And he's not like the kind of character to be like, why didn't you ask me? Like he's just not like they say that there. Like he was just like, oh, you didn't ask if
Yeah.
had
If you don't
what-
ask, I don't do. I'm like
Yeah.
that.
laughed like it was a joke, and I both times I took it like, no, he's being serious. Like you
He's
just
being
assumed
serious.
that
Like,
he
why
was-
did you ask me? Right. Like,
Yeah.
and I like that they did that, and then they gave Nebula her moment, and they gave Mantis her moment of like, I think that scene of her defending Drax, even though she was doing it in the Mantis way, but it was
Right.
showing her intellect as far as being able to say,
Yeah.
you're always doing these things. Like you're always doing these things. Because she is more like the therapist, emotional part of the team, because that's where her power is anyway. And she can
She made
point
him
out,
forget when Nebula was talking shit.
but she had to like give her the raw, uncut filter. You always do this because
Yeah.
he's a certain way, right? Like she had to give it to her that way because Nebula wouldn't have gotten it any other way. She would have blew her off any other time,
Yeah.
right?
Nah.
You coming
That's-
down on him because you don't see how valuable he really is.
and that's what I
Right.
took from the whole movie, especially seeing it.
Yeah.
Like I loved it the first time. I came out like when it was over, like I was like, like I exhaled, and I thought, going in, it's like we were talking about. Like I was like, are people gonna die? What's gonna happen? Oh my god, is this the climax? Oh no, there's about a half hour left. Oh god. I was like, I'll go see it a second time, and maybe I'll be like, oh, okay, it was great. It wasn't necessarily like god tier. It was great though. I liked it more the second time, like kind
Me
of with
too.
expectations in check, because you saw more. It's like the whole story is showing you like each character's role in the group, like what they bring to the table. And it's also emphasizes like why each character like needs the team.
Yeah.
It's like their whole lives revolve around being a part of this team, like for better or for worse. And like why, and that's what makes the ending so good to me. Because it was like the team, it's like they come together, it's like the team needs to kind of break apart. Like we need to find out like who we are individually, like what we bring to the table of life. And that's everybody. I don't know why I said that, but like that's what like at the end dancing like says through the three movies, like only idiots dance. Like you just need to find someone who's pathetic, like you. Like nobody dances. And at the end, Drax starts dancing, and Nebula like does not smile for like what was she in 5 movies or something? She doesn't smile at all. And at the end, she's like laughing. It's like these characters deserve this because they've been through so much. That's what makes it so good. Like they're like the Marvel characters.
The Guardians are the characters that they always needed to support each other because of their weaknesses, right? Like Mantis needed Drax to protect her, but Drax needed Mantis to be his voice, a reason, right? Those kind of things. And then them separating is going to allow them to develop these skills on their own.
Do you think we're ever going to see where Mantis goes?
No.
Obviously, we know Quill went to Earth.
That's got Disney Plus written all over it.
Doesn't it?
And like so many things, I'm like, yeah, it's Disney Plus series.
But what's in it? Like, this might be obvious, but like I love how like Quill and Rocket were just like at each other's throats in Volume 2 and Infinity War. And as soon as Rocket goes down, Quill like snaps out of his drunken state and just rides to save his boy. I
Yeah.
love that.
Normal. That's normal brother behavior.
Yeah.
Normal brother behavior.
And you know, attention to detail. People asked this question. James Gunn answered it.
Where's this
And
helmet?
I saw how many people saw it more than once. Nick, you saw it twice.
I saw it.
I've
twice.
only seen it once.
I seen it twice.
So the second time I saw it, James Gunn. I saw what James Gunn said about
I was
certain
hypnotic over not seeing it again.
Damn. But the second time I saw it, I looked for something James Gunn said. Somebody asked on Twitter, what happened to Star-Lord's helmet?
Do they show the desk drawer?
I tried to look for it. I think I saw it.
I didn't think of that once. Like watching
Didn't
it.
either.
I thought about it once when he was in space and he started. I'm like, oh, where's this thing?
That's
about
why
it.
he started like freezing and expanding. Which
he
is
didn't
kind of a
have.
call back to the first movie.
Yeah.
Gives a shit.
And
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, like,
It's a minute detail that only motherfuckers nitpicking are gonna complain about.
right.
like,
But
yeah, like, cool, but at no point it's like you want to see the actor like doing the thing. Like
Yeah.
that big fight sequence at the end, like with the Beastie Boys playing, it was like it's not like that would have kicked more ass if he was wearing the helmet. Like it still would have been.
Oh, bro, like probably the most bad. Like I don't know if it's the most badass action sequence, but when Quill and Groot like are in like the office of the High Evolutionary,
Yeah.
and, like Groot has like the grenade in his torso. That shit was so dope.
And he had like 8 hands all of a sudden. It's like yes,
Yeah, the Octo Groot, what they call them.
Groot.
My video just stopped recording.
Yeah. So,
but it's still recording on Zoom. False alarm.
All right. But I want to speak to something, and something else has got to come up. What Merritt and Nick has been saying, and what we all been saying as a whole about the characters, right? Everyone's got their moment. These are characters we care about and getting emotional, and this is for a reason. And this is phase 5, correct?
Yeah.
Who knows?
So what was
movie 2?
Movie 2. So thanks, Randy. Because movie 1.
This is movie 1.
Movie 1 was another third movie in the series, which was a trilogy of Ant-Man.
And who would have thought the weakest one?
Yeah, and the thing is, like the total opposite of the spectrum. The characters in Ant-Man, they're supposed to be family, right? The main characters. Well, at least I'm speaking for myself. I don't think it's a horrible movie, but it takes quality-wise a big nosedive. We don't get any sense of camaraderie. We don't get any sense. That's literally family. And we get more sense of family from the Guardians, somebody who's not related. Well, give Star-Lord and his sister. But other than that, and even just plain old character development, Lang is no different at the end of the movie than he was at the beginning.
No.
Nobody is. Wasp isn't even hardly in the movie.
Nah.
No.
And
she got married.
We all know why most of this is, but it's unfair to the series to just plop this Ant-Man on it. This movie was meant to set up Kang.
Yeah.
The Conqueror, which is very unfair.
Kang delivered.
Yeah, and which is not bad, but even so, I think they could have done a little bit better job than that. I'm not saying it's bad. As far as
it was bad.
As far as putting everything together,
it's just disappointing.
Because think about this. Twice now we've seen, and they're not really establishing like the variants. Yeah, we know it's supposed to be variants, but technically he's supposed to be this big bad that Jonathan Majors was supposed to be playing. We've seen him now be defeated twice, right? First season of Loki, and now in Ant-Man. So the threat, they're not doing a good job setting up the threat like Thanos was.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Cause like
Kang,
Thanos kind of just like popped in and out, lurked in the shadows. Kang has been
Yeah.
front and center twice already.
But
And that's what I'm saying.
but the more times he lose,
died.
the weaker he looks, right?
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Yeah.
So, like you like he's not wrong. And if we be honest, and this is me being honest, and I loved Kang in Ant-Man. I loved him as a villain in that
He's
movie.
the only
right?
saving grace.
But the High Evolutionary in Guardians was a better villain than Kang. Like
Yeah.
he definitely was a bigger threat than Kang was. And Kang is supposed to be the big bad.
Kang screamed a couple times too, though.
Bro, he wasn't that character, bro. Like
Yeah.
for them to come back to back and on it, like, and what I said earlier, for them to be so similar to me, it's like, oh, the guy I got in Guardian. I mean, if we put it all on the table, two black actors as villains, right? With similar powers, similar suits, right? And temperament similar as well, right? Because they're back-to-back movies, it's always a comparison thing. And coming out of Guardians, I'm like, oh, he was more of a threat than Kang was, because what he was doing and what he was trying to do was a bigger thing than what Kang was. You know what I mean?
Expect from the Marvels.
Right.
Kang is supposed to be this gigantic universal villain, not just like
Multiversal villain.
realm. The quantum realm is screwed. It's like he is going to be all-encompassing evil bad guy. And like it's like you said, we've kind of seen him get defeated twice. Now, granted, maybe they've got some bigger thing going on, but it's like Chukwudi Iwuji as the High Evolutionary, that character being in his position, where he's not necessarily a universal threat, but the idea of that character being a universal threat is like more terrifying.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
like,
And it's a lot of inconsistencies with Kang and Ant-Man, because you see a lot of stuff he can do power-wise, and when it comes down to it, it's him and Ant-Man in a fist fight.
Yeah.
I kind of viewed Kang and Ant-Man as, because he was where he was, and because of that, I viewed him as he wasn't to his full capacity power-wise. But even with that said, and when we talk about both villains, though, Kang was able to be defeated by Loki and Girl Loki one time, and then he was defeated by Ant-Man and the others the second time, right?
Yeah.
It took all of the Guardians to take down the High Evolutionary. Like it took all, like the Guardians as a team. When you think about their powers overall, they could fight the Avengers for a little bit. The Guardians could, based on the powers they have, right? It took all of them to stop this dude. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, Kang don't look like the heavyweight that he should, because I think the Guardians could deal with Kang a little bit too if they dealt with him. You know what I mean? Like,
and it's a reason we think that. Now go ahead, Nick.
No, it's like he got beat by ants and a girl. Like,
and you're gonna think about it. It's funny, but you're gonna think about it. But this is gonna tie everything up. Director of Gina Prince Blythewood, is that her name?
Love and Basketball.
Yeah, Love and Basketball. And she did the
Woman King,
the Woman King. She said something she had on her sign. She said, despite popular belief, everybody cannot write. Pay those who can well.
Really?
And this is what I mean. The weakness of Ant-Man, everything starts on the page. Characters, story, setup, blah, blah, blah. Ant-Man is very weak story and character-wise. Guardians of the Galaxy is very strong character-wise. And like, it just basically shows how important this is, the writing. James Gunn is a fantastic writer. I think he's a better writer than he is director, and he's a great director. You know what I mean? You go back and look at his early stuff, you can see he's great with dialogue, he's great with setup, he's great with payoff. Yeah. So
Ant-Man specifically, and Kang, with Kang, they used one scene. If you think about the whole movie, of the Ant-Man movie, if you think about the whole movie, they tried to make the audience fear Ant-Man. Fear Kang all in one scene. And that was the scene where he had, Ant-Man and his daughter locked up, right?
Yeah.
And he gave us the threat that he would kill her right in front of the dad, right? They tried to use that one scene. They were like, okay, Ant-Man's crazy. Kang is crazy.
Kang,
like, okay,
yeah.
like Kang is insane. Like he's gonna do like they tried to. Whereas in Guardians, and like you said, this comes to writing. They spend the whole movie like, yo, this dude is a threat, bro. He kills Rocket and his friends, and it was a build-up too. It wasn't like he killed Rocket's friends, right? He kills his friends, and then it's like, all right, this dude is crazy, right? Then he has the alternate Earth, and he's like, oh yeah, you're right. You know what? They aren't doing what I want. He kills all those people on that Earth,
Destroyed
right?
the whole planet.
Right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, damn, this dude he's crazy for real. This dude is crazy, right? Then after that, he kills his own people for not following him, right? He kills his own people for not following him. And then we realize that all these characters from since the beginning, he still had them all caged up the whole time. Like, it's like, yo, this dude is off. Like, but they spent the whole movie showing you the threat he was in comparison to Kang, where they try to give you one scene like, yo, he's crazy. Look at this. And it's like, oh, okay, he's crazy. And then the rest of the movie is like, oh, whatever. Okay.
Yeah. It's like I said with stakes, though. It's like I knew Kang wasn't going to kill Cassie. She's on the. I knew she wasn't dead. I was like, maybe Michael Douglas. Last go. But he didn't either. So I was like, he's not going to kill Cassie. She's a new actress. She's on the poster. That ain't happening. The whole, like the High Evolutionary's whole thing, it was like he was like galactic Hitler. It's like, oh, he's trying to make a perfect race of being, and he's just going to fucking around and experimenting until he gets it right.
He had a very Thanos-esque motivation trying to like.
It was like Thanos-esque, but like where you could argue that like Thanos had a point. People, it's like Killmonger had a point. Magneto had a point. Loki, you can understand why Loki's pissed. People have put the High Evolutionary in that conversation. It's like, no, he didn't have a point. This guy was a bastard. He
was just genuinely bad though, and that works too as a villain, right?
And I think
he thought he was right.
Yeah,
the High Evolutionary.
And
the High Evolutionary as a villain. As a villain, when you think about the scope of what he was doing, he was actually worse than Thanos. If you put it in perspective, he was worse than Thanos. Thanos eliminated 50%. But the problem is this dude killed a whole planet of the difference is Thanos was killing people, right? It was like people. This dude created animal people, right? But they're people, right? On a planet. They're living their life just like we are, right? On our Earth, right? He pretty much was like, yeah, they're not doing what we want, and killed the whole planet. Thanos just took out 50% of it. Like, 50%
at random
things, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, like we need to do this for this reason. Thanos had more. This dude was like, oh yeah, they're not doing what I want. Kill the whole planet. We're starting. Right. Like, bruh, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's insane. Like but he's always gonna be viewed lesser because Thanos was doing it to people, right? Like, human people. Right? It's like, but no, when you put in perspective how bad he was genuinely just evil. It's just what it was.
Yeah.
And what he did was actually worse.
Because if you asked Thanos, if Thanos were a real person that you talked to, if you asked him like, why are you doing the shit that you do? He would be like, to help the galaxy, to help people. It's like, I want balance. I want everyone to be fed. I want everyone to live their best life. And everywhere.
And speaking of which,
and like the evolutionary doesn't have that reason. You'd be like, why do you do this to these animals?
Be like, this ain't working.
I want them to be perfect, and they aren't perfect. And it's like, that's weird. You're a weird guy.
What was the first appearance of Brolin's Thanos?
Guardians.
It's
Yeah.
Guardians
No.
1.
Yeah,
Was-
Guardians 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
After credit
And,
scene, right?
Nah,
no, in the movie.
No. In the movie. Yeah. You're
Talking
right.
to
Yeah,
Ronan.
you're right. Talking to
Yeah.
Ronan. Yep.
No, Age of Ultron had a
mid credits.
post credit with an actor, a
Fine.
stunt person, and
I'll
the first
do
one
it
too. That was
myself.
Where
right.
he was
when
super purple, right? He was
Yeah.
like purple.
The first Avengers is the dude from How I Met Your Mother that plays Robin's boss. I don't know if any of three y'all get that.
I
Totally.
have to look that up.
He just had an end. He was cool with Joss Whedon and just stood in as Thanos.
Yeah. But we'll see how.
Allison Hannigan's husband again, like that tells y'all who he is.
I'm gonna look that up.
Jason Segel.
But no.
No fucker.
I don't remember
But
that.
all three of the movies
It's
has
Alexis Denisoff or some shit.
I'm gonna look him. Yeah, he does because he did stunt work throughout the MCU. I know he's in Civil War as one of the mercenaries that they were chasing through the village before what's the name set off the bomb. But
Scarlet Witch.
yeah, Scarlet Witch. Yeah,
Her name is
but
Wanda.
Maximoff.
but anyway, even without that, all three of the MCU movies this year potentially have something in common. It's about teams. So Ant-Man, Guardians, and the Marvels, correct?
Yep.
And I'm hoping the Marvels do a little better than Ant-Man with the.
I think the Marvels gonna be better than Ant-Man. I do.
Yeah.
I think that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It looks a little woke for me, but that's going to be the conversation with the Marvels. Whether it's good or not, it doesn't matter. But it looks good. It's
Oh,
fun.
shit.
And then everybody hates the actor that plays Captain Marvel too. So.
Yeah, everybody hate Brie Larson anyway.
Not me.
So-
no, sir.
so-
not
Not
me.
us.
Bro,
But
I
man,
remember, bro, they
I didn't
hate
even
her.
think
Man.
about that. It's gonna be wild. You have a
Even
And-
bring on she and Fast X, bro. Bring on Fast X.
oh boy.
Fastix.
So we're still on podcast, so we won't give anything away. Well, you probably talk about that. So we all know by now what the thing is, right?
Right.
I don't know the thing.
All right. So we'll stay away from that.
What's the thing?
I have heard the alleged thing.
They allege something that's happening.
Yeah.
The rumor that y'all was talking about.
Yeah. You had to heard it.
I know what you're talking about, but
Yeah.
I refuse to believe that it's gonna happen until I see it.
That's
Yeah,
exactly-
same
in
here.
theater.
It's a rumor. It's a hard, but anyway, the MCU.
Still, I don't know how it can still be a rumor, but I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm watching it tonight and I'm excited.
Oh man.
But anyway,
But yeah.
Quantum Mania. That shit comes out Tuesday.
Oh, I'm curious. I guess we gonna be wrapping up. What's everybody's star rating for Guardians 3?
5 out of 5. Fight
Oh
me.
shit. Oh,
Big
oh.
dog. Huge.
5 out of 5. Fight me. It's my favorite movie all year.
I'm a 4 and a
Ooh.
half about fives. I
What'd you
really
say about
it a second time. I really thought I would go see it a second time and be like, all right. It was good, but it wasn't as good as like some of my other 4.5s. And I ended up moving it up one. I was like, yeah, that was better than Spider-Man. What? No Way Home? I was like, yeah, that was better than No Way Home. Fuck it.
I said that. I said that, bro.
No Way Home didn't make me cry. Fuck it.
I said that. I said the same thing. Guardians has been the best movie since Endgame. The
Yes.
best Marvel
I'm
movie since Endgame.
100% sure.
And I don't even think it's debatable either. I think it's clearly the best movie
Yes.
since Endgame.
Not to me, but I don't disagree.
yeah.
Spider-Man is the only one even putting up an argument.
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
Yeah. That's what I was
Spider-Man
about.
has a
No Way
lot of
Home.
fans.
Yeah.
No Way Home is a really good movie. A lot of fucking fanfare. A lot of fanfare.
Yeah. But
And
it does
it
it
did-
well.
It does. No, it does it well.
Yeah.
It does. It definitely benefits the movie.
Right.
A lot of fanfare, but
As a front to back film, Guardians, like what is the better film? I'm like, yeah, Guardians 3 for sure. I give Spider-Man all the credit in the world for like I give Spider-Man like the bringing the cinema back credit that Top Gun keeps getting. I'm like,
Yeah.
True.
I'm like-
That's right.
was the first time back where people were screaming and clapping and whistling and cheering. Not that I want that every time I go to the movies, but that was when I was like, we're back.
They
We're
did
back.
it very well. They
God,
did it very well. I
we
was
got-
telling Randy this. You can love two movies, right? I can love Spider-Man and I can love Guardian. But if you're telling me I have to compare them, they could both be 2 5s, right? But if you're telling me I have to compare them, now I have to nitpick, right? Because that's what happened. If you're comparing two things, you love them both, you have to nitpick, right?
Mhm.
Guardians as a movie, as a story, was just better. And when you nitpick them, it's like I can really poke holes in the fact that the Sorcerer Supreme fucked up a spell, bro. Like I can just poke holes in that. Like, bro, he's the best there is. You mean to tell me that this dude, like, first of all, the fact that he's a grown ass man and Spider-Man is a kid, and Spider-Man can just go to the Sorcerer Supreme for something like, I want everybody to forget me so I can go to college. It's some bullshit. If we nitpick it, it's some
They be
bullshit.
nitpicking.
Like, and the fact that he'll be like, yeah, I'll do it. Get the fuck out of here with that. That's dumb. That's
He
the first.
said.
But it plays into it because
did
Doctor
save the
Strange
galaxy
himself
together.
is.
We just saved half the
works.
universe.
It
Right.
works in the movie. But we're nitpicking, right? This is a
Yeah.
nitpick,
This is
right?
But Mary, you brought something up earlier, and I
Nitpick
think it's
these
great
nuts.
for this. You brought up The Wire, right?
Mhm.
One of my favorite lines used multiple times in The Wire, comparing these two great movies. That seemed like one of them good problems.
Good problems, right? Right. Right.
This is the mirror dimension.
They're definitely the best too.
Escape the
Yeah.
mirror. And like Spider-Man just like does some math and he's like, yeah, I'm escaping the mirror dimension. And Doctor Strange is completely dumbfounded by this. Like,
It is like he's the best there is.
what did you do? And he was just like,
bruh. And
But it
then,
plays
yo,
into it because Doctor Strange is throughout the movies is very arrogant.
Yes.
right. And
But it's great and
it's a nitpick though. We're nitpicking
yeah,
too great, though, right? When we're nitpicking. So, but it,
Doctor Strange had more character development in that movie, which I do think. But honestly, though, like he is the Sorcerer Supreme. He is treated in Infinity War like he is
the guy, like he's
the
right.
one. Like,
yeah.
and it's like,
he's not fucking up no simple spell like that, bro.
Yeah.
He's just not. And him being the age that he is and being asked to do that, I'm not seeing the Sorcerer Supreme be like, yeah, I'm gonna do that for you, bro. Like, no, I don't see it. But that's a nitpick. But
Yeah.
I do think Guardians is the best movie since
themes of entertainment. Spider-Man,
But that's the thing is, even if
Spider-Man.
you-
Guardians.
Spider-Man is touching it. It's right. It's a notch. Like it's still
Yeah.
touching the bottom of Guardians. Like it's
Yeah.
that close. It's very close.
But y'all know it's sad though. Let's take away Guardians 3 and Spider-Man and look at how
Shit-
bad
shit
of a
looks
phase
bad,
it's
bro.
been
Let's-
recently.
Let's
Shit looks
not.
bad.
Let's
Uh-oh.
not, because I
What
don't
you
want to
got?
go into negative town. Eric, what's your rating?
Oh yeah, I'm asking y'all and giving mine. Mine is 4.5.
Okay. Nick and Eric, some haters. We established that.
Next
Next episode, I don't know what we talking about, if it's gonna be the Fast Saga or if it's gonna be the Little Mermaid and the Disney live action remakes as a collective. But I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna wrap up this episode because it's Record League, you bitch. Yo, y'all motherfuckers faker than Art Van Delay, and I'm important. Fuck with your exporting. If I spit it, it's important. Living out your means, bitch. This life, you can't afford it. Voices in my head, I'm feeling Randy without the Orton. I might be slipping mentally, I'm feeling down low. But I'm really just trying to get some head, like Al Snow. Complaining, but still buy the gas and the groceries. Put in no work, but try to say how it's supposed to be. I flow so much, it's like I'm always where the ocean be. Reaction is none. You wasting time thinking you provoking me. Try hard for the image. You lousy, you Ronda Rousey. Delusionally, you think this ain't about me. Stop it, bitch. You not topping this. Just stop your lips from uttering what's ever coming out of your esophagus. You lames want hookups and handouts, a fucking head start, but can't put together no hit, man. Cause you not Bret Hart. And chill until the next episode.